Hello, and welcome to another Parry's Pickups. Now, it's been a while, and that is basically because I'm in Denmark now. And for long-time listeners I say listeners because I do a podcast, long-time viewers of Parry's Pickups will know that the majority of the games that I buy online and they're delivered to the UK. So while I'm here in Denmark, I'm not getting so many new games unless I see something out in the wild that catches my eye. And there's been a few, and a few interesting pickups. First of all, I'll go with this particular game, and this game is Fist of the North Star, Ken's Rage. Now, I do remember when this game came out, and I remember it receiving rather lukewarm reviews, and it put me off. I was initially interested in this game quite a bit. It was also crazy expensive, especially here in Denmark. As you can see here, it was 99 kroner, which is, around about the £10 mark. At least it used to be before the exchange rates sort of went crazy. Now, I can recommend this game, and I feel bad that I put off buying it for so long, because it is really worth it. Basically, the impression I had of this game before buying it was going to be a Dynasty Warriors type game. It's not quite, it's not as extreme as that. For anyone who knows the anime will know that Ken, your main character here, isn't necessarily... He's fighting a lot of enemies in one go, but it's not on Dynasty Warriors level. So it's kind of nice. There's a bit of breathing space between the fights. Basically, it's a brawler, third-person brawler. Nice, it's simple controls, but they're deep enough. There's enough depth in there to keep you interested. You can do some really crazy over-the-top moves when you build up your special meters. You do get, like Dynasty Warriors, you do get quite a few enemies attacking you at once. But as I said, not as many as in that particular game. And after you've defeated the waves of enemies, as you've gone through the level, there's a little bit of platforming, a little bit of exploring. There's a map, overhead map in the corner, so you can... There's kind of a little bit of depth to it. It's basically a point A to point B kind of thing, and you get to the end and you get to a boss. And yeah, the boss battles are more of a one-on-one affair. Occasionally you'll get enemies interrupting the fight, other enemies, and yeah, you take them out as well. But it's all done really well. I remember playing Last Battle on the Sega Mega Drive and thinking, yes, a Fist of the North Star game. But no, that's incredibly disappointing, and I wouldn't recommend it. And then there was the 2D Fighter on the PS2, which is really good. But it didn't feel exactly like Fist of the North Star because it was a one-on-one fighting affair, and it was... This manages to replicate the anime, the manga, very well. I'd say, from what I remember of watching the anime, it follows the story quite closely. There are cutscenes in between the levels, and what really makes this stand above some of the competition is this has really good controls. Really good. The camera moves well. The controls feel fluid and loose, and it just perfectly captures the essence of what people love about Fist of the North Star: extreme violence, crazy characters, extreme violence, and just an overall coolness. Really good game. I'd recommend it, and I don't know how expensive it is nowadays. I think what I paid for it was rather good. Maybe it's even cheaper than that in the UK or online. So yeah, do check it out if you like brawlers, if you like Fist of the North Star. This is a very good game. Next up is a game that I already own actually in a digital copy. Now I have a physical copy because I really like this game. It is Nitro Plus Blaster's Heroine's Infinite Duel, if I remember correctly. Yes. Now this is as far as I'm aware, a crossover fighting game. So you've got characters from a lot of these very popular visual novels. You now see quite a lot of popping up on the PlayStation Network store and confusing me, thinking, oh, that's a new fighting game because it contains images of anime characters. And no, it's either a visual novel or an RPG. And I can't say I'm a fan of either of those types of games. Lots of people are. It would seem to me that most people are, but there's so many of those games. And how does anyone ever get the time to play them all? I certainly would not. But But then again, I do play games rather slowly. Fighting games like this one are perfect for me because it gives me a pick up and play for half an hour, play through the arcade mode or whatever, or play with friends. And this is a prime example of a 2D fighter on the PS4. I'd say it's my favourite one. Now I did pick up King of Fighters recently, the latest, and yeah, that's really good. I'd recommend that as well. But this one really grabbed me. I was reviewing it for Blast Process. You can check out my review on the website. There's also some gameplay videos on Blast Process 2 of this game. And I felt like I should buy this game. And so here it is. It's sealed because there isn't really much point in me opening it because I play my digital copy. But I do think there's some art cards in here. I know some of the versions have some art cards. It's either art cards or the disc's loose, or or it's actually got a manual, which is rather nice. But recommend this game. If you want to know more, check out the videos here and check out the review on blastprocess.com. The next game will be an Xbox One game. It's also available on PS4, Xbox 360 and PS3, and that's Turtles, Mutants in Manhattan. I got this for a reasonable price. It's shot down quite a lot lately. It didn't get the best reviews, but it is a Turtles game on the latest generation of consoles, and I'm a big Turtles fan. And it's got Platinum Games developed it. It's got some good credentials here. Fortunately, I've heard it isn't so good, and it is not comparable with the excellent Transformers Devastation that Platinum made. They seem to be on a roll of making games based on classic franchises from the 80s and 90s. But yeah, I've yet to play it actually. So I look forward to giving this a go soon, but yeah, I haven't got round to it yet, but it looks really nice, and I'll let you know my verdict probably on the Tom Matt Attack podcast when I actually get around to playing this game. Okay, and now another fighting game, another anime-style fighting game. This time it's not an all-girl fighter. There are, I think, 2 male characters in this game. This is Aqua Parza, or Aqua Pazza, or Parza sounds better, doesn't it? And this is a really good fighting game. In some ways, it's better than Nitro Plus Blasters in some respects. Now, I haven't spent enough time with this yet to say if it's a better game or not, but it does have really nice backgrounds in it, which is something Nitro Plus Blasters didn't manage to do. So that's nice. Gives it an extra level of feels more alive when you're fighting. The ones in Nitro Plus Blasters are a bit bland. This has a lot more going on. There's some unique characters again. This is made by the same developers as as Nitro Plus Blasters. I think, I'm pretty sure it does contain maybe some very similar characters because it's a crossover game with characters from visual novels. So yeah, but it's very good, and it's, I'd say, nearly or maybe as good as Nitro Plus Blasters. So I'd again recommend this. It's available on PS3. I don't think it's available on anything else, to my knowledge. It is a import copy. This one is. You can buy it digitally, which is one way to go, or you can import the American copy. This was, I think, I can't remember if it's about £20 or £15 for this. It varies. It goes up and down. Shop around for it. I think, yeah, you can get it between 20 and 15. I think you've got a reasonable deal on this one. So yeah, recommend this one as well. Very good fighting game. And yeah, I'm right. It's only on PlayStation. There. So next up, a few Game Boy games. Now, I noticed that my good friend and fellow podcaster Matt Boyle had a copy of Pokemon Crystal, in fact several copies of Pokemon Crystal, and I asked him if he'd be interested in selling one of them, and he sold me a copy of the game, Pokemon Crystal. Now, I wanted this game because I've never played Pokemon Crystal. I'm very familiar with Gold and Silver, having played it back in the day, and also the Soul Silver remake. But Crystal's I've always been interested in trying it and seeing what they did and what's extra in here. I think there's an extra sort of storyline about someone trying to about the legendary dogs, especially Suicune here. So yeah, someone's on the hunt for Suicune. I think that is the extra story in this particular game. So I look forward to getting around to playing this. At the moment, I'm finishing off Pokemon Black. I'm at a point where I need to level up my Pokemon, and there's not a lot of opportunities to do that once you've completed the main story. There's some extra areas in that game that open up, so you can do a lot of trainer battles there, which is good. It gets you up to a certain level, and then there's only actually, as far as I'm aware, one Pokemon battle that you can do every day with your rival. That gets your levels up very slowly, but if you want to take on the Elite Four proper, because back in the story mode, you never actually get to properly complete the Elite Four, and that's why I felt I'd really got to carry on with that game to actually properly do the Elite Four and say that's done, and then I move on to Pokemon Moon is the one I'm planning on getting at the end of November. So Pokemon is one of those games which I really like, and you can see I'm wearing a Pokemon t-shirt today. It's certainly been the year of Pokemon this year. But yeah, it's contrary to what I just said because, I said I don't really like RPGs and I don't really find the time to play. And Pokemon's a good one because you can play it while you're travelling, and I happen to do quite a lot of travelling, so back and forth between Denmark and the UK. So I really like Pokemon games, always have done. Yeah, they're great. So as well as that, Matt was like, "Oh, you interested in anything else? I've got a copy of Micromaniacs here that you didn't want." And because I like Micro Machines, and I do actually quite like Micromaniacs on the PS1, I took him up on that offer. He did me sort of like a bundle deal, and along with that, I got a copy of Go Go Beckham, which is a platform game similar to Marco's Magic Football, I think it was called, which is a platform game where you have the character has a football and you can use that football to attack enemies and such. And it's really nice, and you might think Go Go Beckham, is that just a regular football sports game? But no, it's a platform. It's got a lot in common with Yoshi's Island. It feels incredibly the atmosphere of the game and some of the style of the visuals are very similar to that game, and the way you kick the football around is also similar to the way you would throw eggs in Yoshi's Island. So he threw that in as well. It's very good. And also he threw in for free, no extra charge, Dragon Ball Z Taiketsu, which this is I don't think it's a legitimate copy of the game, but it plays perfectly well. And yeah, I've played this game before. It's a fighting game, therefore it's always nice to have fighting games, but it's a bad fighting game. It's the Western developed Dragon Ball Z game, I think. The characters look terrible and it's slow and it's incredibly average. It's not terrible. It's not Final Bout level of horror, but this is not a great game. So I don't recommend it, but yeah, it's a Dragon Ball Z fighting game, which isn't very good. And because I wanted to play Pokemon Crystal on the bus, and I wanted to hear that wonderful music, Pokemon music, which is, I think, very important for the experience, I needed to get a little something for my SP, which is where I would prefer to play Game Boy games and Game Boy Advance games. This is the 101 edition, so it's got the really nice, colourful screen. So, Pokemon Crystal in there. But the problem with this being, if I wanted to hear the sound, because, not everyone wants to hear Pokemon music on the bus. Well, there's a little ditto. Then I'm going to need some headphones, and the SP doesn't have a headphone jack anywhere. So you can get little adapters. And this is the adapter I bought, in very inexpensive adapter this. That plugs right into the external port on the back of an SP, and it allows you to plug in some headphones so you can enjoy the music from your games without disturbing everybody else. So these are about a couple of quid online, I'd recommend these very much for your SP listening needs. And that is it for this episode of Parry's Pickups. I hope you've enjoyed. I'm not sure when I'll be back on again now, because, as I said, I pick up games now and again here in Denmark, physical copies. And it's funny to say physical copies because I remember a day when there was only such a thing as physical copies. But yeah, I might pick up. I'm getting Pokemon, but I doubt I'll make an entire video about Pokemon. I'll probably talk about it on the podcast. But if I do find some more things, I'll be back again here with you from Denmark. If I don't, I go back to the UK for Christmas. So you'll definitely get some more Parry's pickups then, because there is a nice stack of games waiting there for me in the UK. So thanks again for watching, and we'll catch you soon, I hope. Bye for now, and game on.